So this is our out the lunch break. It's a chance for everybody to take a break from everything they're doing in the day, maybe get a little bit refreshed, a little bit of, and come up with some good ideas. And we've got a great presentation today with JD. So we'll go ahead and get started. As we always do, though, we know that humor is important in our lives. And a couple of thoughts that kind of relate to what JD is going to be talking about, which is our company cultures and feedback and how to help your employees do well. Has anybody seen the one on the left before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good.
No.
Both are good.
Yeah. Hopefully the left one ties to sailing and pirates. That's a lot when we take people sailing for first couple of times, is to make sure they understand. So always a little bit of fun. And in honor of our speaker, we're going to see if we can pick up a couple of questions on things that I think that JD will be talking about. So if you can see the participant section on your screen, if you click participant, it should give you the chat. Sorry, not participant, but see where the chat is. Answer the first question. Awareness of corporate or organizational culture emerged when? Got a couple of answers.
We got a couple of these, or at least we got one.
All right. Anybody know or guessing on this one?
I got a couple of A's. Anthony says A, maybe after Dale Carnegie.
All right. So the answer is, at least according to Investatopia, that it was in the 60s that corporate culture became something to pay attention to. So it's been around. Who's quoted as saying feedback is the breakfast of champions? And there's a trick question in this. There's a trick answer here. Does anybody else knows it? What do you got?
We got Peter Drucker. Actually, I think we had two of those. I think somebody got on that one early.
Anybody else have answers to who said feedback is the breakfast of champions?
Anthony and Wayne are down for Drucker.
Ah.
Hey, because you put it on LinkedIn.
I'm guessing it's Muhammad Ali right
Way to go,
there. Did say
JD.
that.
It is Ken Blanchard. And, Ken is known for writing the 1 Minute Manager. And a lot about feedback. The trick part is, there's a book called Breakfast of Champions that was written by anybody?
Kurt Vonnegut.
I put it in the
Got
chat
it.
there. It's in the
You
chat.
got it.
Maybe I can get a half point for that one.
You got it, Anthony. All right. And so many people didn't know where Breakfast of Champions came from. The wild one.
I think it was coined by General Mills.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. So as an introduction, so that our guest, JD, knows who's on the call, Jared, if you can walk us through the 15-second introductions, and each person is also going to be asked the question about what tactic helps your relationship with your employees or your vendors.
All right, we've got a nice little crew here today. I'm going to make sure I get everybody on my screen. We've got a few new folks today, so thank you for coming. Start with the people I hadn't seen before. Stan, how about you? Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Stan Schnitzer. My company, Schnitzer Associates. When I resurrect it, because I'm mostly retired, but I still dabble with a few things. I think the tactic that helps most for me is being personable. Just understanding what makes people tick, and then trying to sort of match up any conversation I can with them.
Well, thank you, Stan. Welcome.
Good to be here.
Absolutely good to have you. Wayne, I don't know if you've been on before. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, Wayne, my company, Learning Curve Consultants, focus on learning and development. I would say my tactic is really just being collaborative and being present, and making my clients feel like they're my number one priority. And I think just that symbiotic relationship that try to cultivate.
Perfect. Thanks, Wayne. And I know Linda's been on with us several times. Linda Coyle, welcome back.
Thank you. Hey, Linda Coyle, LGE Community Credit Union. I would say communication. Communication, over and over again.
I think that's perfect. Thank you. Angie, also welcome back.
Hey, thank you. I think what makes a difference for me is taking a holistic approach and looking at really the comprehensive client situation and what they want the outcome to be, and working with all aspects that will be influenced by a particular choice.
Perfect. And our last two we've got are, they're out to lunch all-stars, Anthony and Lindy. Anthony, why don't you go ahead first?
Hi, everyone. My name is Anthony Hartley. Our company is called Patient Advisor. We're a healthcare consultancy. I could copy what Stan says about being personal. I guess what I could add is it's both a value and a strategy, and it's the word we're often using now, which is empathy. And I think it's helpful to use empathy because in that way you can put yourself in the shoes of someone else, and hopefully that's how progress can happen. That's how you can help each other.
Perfect. Thanks, Anthony. And last but not least, Lindy, how are you?
Thank you. I'm Lindy. My company is either unemployed or Earl Marketing, depending on what I'm doing. I was recently laid off. I'm kind of back to consulting. I gave a seminar on Friday on stress, but I do a lot of, my job is just to make people more successful, make them more successful, which makes their company more successful, and lots of tactics to get there. And one tactic to help with relationships, the answers have been fabulous. I mean, everything, if we can put them all together, but I think I try to do that through making every conversation about other people.
That's a good one for sales. People like to talk about themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Al, how about you, man?
Al Schlinger, I'm with Great South Benefits, fixing the healthcare system for people who have health insurance that's either too expensive or hard to understand, doesn't pay out the good benefit. Wow, Lindy, you took mine at the end where I thought that Angie and Linda brought it up that how to communicate,
Right.
and it's a lot to do with doing it in that other person's voice or from the other person's perspective.
Right. I thought Linda and Angie both had well, everybody had fabulous answers, but how do you, now it's an application of it?
Yeah.
For me, I think in my industry, I'm a financial advisor, is speaking English. It's really easy for any of us in our prospective fields to go ahead and start using the lingo and acronyms, and not taking for granted that people understand what I'm saying when I'm saying it, because it's really, you need to know the real consequences of your money, understand what you're doing and what the consequences are going to be from that so that you can understand and accept it. I laugh that my wording is more truthful than the answer that is compliant approved, because it actually gives somebody something they can understand, and not a lot of industry jargon.
Thanks, Angie. And Jared, you want to introduce yourself and then introduce JD?
Yeah, I'll go quick. Yeah, Jared Sobelson with Boyd North Insurance Group, PNC insurance agent. Like Lindy said, all great answers. I always think honesty is a good policy, and setting a good example, whether it be for employees or even customers. That's what I go with.
All right, so we're got lots of great things to hear from JD. I've had a chance to meet him earlier, and know him as well. Linda knows him very well, and it's a fascinating conversation. So I'm going to stop talking. JD, it's all yours.
Thanks. Appreciate it. I'm glad to be here. This is exciting for me. The answers that you all gave, it was a softball for me, because you're all talking about interaction, how you interact with people, your empathy, your openness, your communication, you're making sure that people feel understood and heard and appreciated. And that's kind of the basis of what we've put together. But I'll go through a couple of slides of what InteHRaction's about. Certainly not enough time to give the kind of demonstration that I gave to Hal a couple weeks ago. But if anybody has any questions or would like to see it at some other time, I'd be happy to show it to you. Let's see, Hal, can I go ahead and put a slide up?
It's all ready.
Yeah, all right, let's see. There we go. Everybody can see that? So.
There we go.
We're good.
Everybody got, all right. So HR is about relationships, human relationships, and human relationships are all about interaction. And kind of looking to what we were talking about today, I think one of the basic premises of what interaction is about is that feedback is a gift, and we should look at feedback as a gift. Somebody mentioned earlier talking about it would be nice to know if I was doing something, or the perception of what I was doing in a meeting, and maybe I would change my behavior. If nobody is going to interact with you and share that feedback with you, you're going to continue to go ahead and keep sticking your pen up your nose in meetings when people say, hey, he doesn't look very professional when he sticks his pen up his nose, right? So hopefully you figured that one out before somebody tells you about it. But if not, it sure would be nice. Just like someone, you always got that goop on your face, and people let you talk for 5 minutes, and you're like, wow, if you're really my friend, you would have told me that goop was on my face, and I wouldn't feel like such an idiot after this. One of the interesting things, we started building InteHRaction about 2 years ago, fully deep in the software development a little over a year ago. But it was before COVID. It was before, the world went to hell. But the interesting thing about what we're doing and how it actually plays out, it almost sounds like we're being opportunistic and bringing it out at this time, because there are some truly important things that can happen with what we're doing. One of the biggest things about interactions is a lot about this is nonverbal communication, right?
Absolutely.
When you're sitting in a meeting, and if you see somebody, obviously the signs of the open communicator and the closed communicator, or the rolling of the eyes, or the sitting back in the chair, or the looking around, things like that. Those are clues that help people understand a dynamic of a relationship and of a meeting and of an interaction. And with COVID, and unfortunately working on here, all right, Hal, I can tell that he's 4 buttons away from being in his Speedo on his boat there. I had no idea that he was going to be on a boat today, but it's pretty amazing. Actually, no, I can tell a little bit from the background. It kind of pops once in a while, so maybe you really aren't on that boat. Point is, don't really know what's going on when you have an opportunity to look at what's happening in a Zoom screen. And we are asking employees to take on really, really heavy burdens. A lot of times it's groups that never really worked together a lot, because they've now been charged with kind of keeping the lights on remotely.
Did something happen?
Uh-oh.
Maybe there's
JD?
an issue.
We're not hearing you.
Yeah, looks like his feed is gone. His picture went off.
Okay, I've still got it on, but it's frozen.
That's probably internet.
Where I am, it started to rain.
We'll hop back on.
Yeah, it's like Angie said, it's probably a connection issue.
Yep.
Looks like you probably left the meeting. See if he can sign on in a different way.
He could do it by his phone, maybe.
If anybody can figure it out, he will. He is ridiculously tech savvy.
Environment that helps
There we go.
understand. Everybody lose me there, or we
You
good?
did.
Yeah, for a few minutes.
Okay. I forgot what I just said, so I won't repeat it. Let me share the screen again. I see everybody. Let's see. Wow.
It's all those kids logging on today trying to go to school, messing us all up.
All right, you
That's
back to my
it.
screen? Okay.
It's loading now.
All right. Well, our mission in InteHRaction is to make performance management fair and easy for everyone, from employees, managers, human resources, and leadership. And I'll lead off just with a couple of things. Employees, especially in this day and age, employees desire feedback, right? I really want to know how I'm doing. It's even more difficult when I'm working away from the office now to get that feedback, both verbally and through non-communication, right? Through just seeing how things are happening in the office. One of the things that has the greatest effect on me in my job is that relationship that I have with my manager. And sometimes managers, managers have experience, and there's versus experience with your manager. Folks that have been in the role for a long time tend to have learned going through the years or decades on how to be a manager. And hopefully they've learned those tools that enable them to have a relationship with somebody versus just the adversarial boss and an employee, or the authoritarian, here's what you need to do. But people obviously, and you all mentioned it here, people work a heck of a lot better when they're getting feedback and they feel like they're being listened to and they're cared about. Oftentimes we get people that put into management positions that are new in their role. They're great at their job, but we gave them a chance to do something else. And now you've got an employee who's looking for this relationship for someone who's going to give them some leadership skills, and a person may not have those skills. So what can we do to help not only an employee feel good in their job and get feedback? What can we do to help a manager be better in their job? What can we do to ensure that human resources has the information, the security, the safety, the process, all the things that are necessary in kind of the performance management area of an organization. And then leadership, everybody's got KPIs and dashboards. How many widgets did we sell, or what's the uptime on the generators? But we don't have a lot of good information about how teams and individuals are doing in our organization. And it wouldn't be great if a leader had the opportunity to be able to see how people are doing and use that information to get back. So I'm going to show you a quick video based on the fact that employees desire feedback, managers seek direction, HR expects accountability, and leaders deserve visibility.
Okay, what do you depend on most from a product review? Accuracy, right? I mean, you expect the reviewer to really know a product, and we hope they truly experience that product, but we just don't know. So now imagine that you're that product, and it's your boss reviewing you. Your annual review meeting finally arrives, and you're anxious, hoping for some accurate, positive feedback that rewards your last 12 months of work. But your review falls short because your manager is sharing dated information based upon biased perspectives and non-inclusive feedback. Yet you've worked your tail off. It feels terrifying and unfair, right? Well, the truth is, annual performance reviews are artifacts carried over from the 1950s. The process is biased, limited, subjective, and frankly, painful for everyone. But it doesn't end there. Now imagine you're the human resources business partner with stacks of last-minute, poorly written employee reviews. Or you're the CEO trying to inspire employees. I mean, how trusted are you as their leader? Well, InteHRaction fixes all that. You see, InteHRaction is a collaborative, company crowdsourced data platform that gathers day-to-day documentation from colleagues, generating usable information which supports an employee's actual performance. Small data points about performance, company values, and impact are collected immediately after interactions at all levels of the organization, and then shared in a dashboard with the team's manager. So a manager sees accurate information about each employee to use during one-on-ones and periodic reviews throughout the year. Employees know performance is measured accurately. Human Resources has dependable 360-degree feedback on each employee, and the CEO is leading a team that's striving to be the best at all times. InteHRaction is a quantum shift in the HR feedback and review process, making everyone a contributor and everyone a beneficiary of real information gathered by real people, making a real impact on careers, dignity, company profitability, and employee morale. InteHRaction. Now you know.
Now you know.
Now you know. So that's just kind of a highlight to give you the concept behind what we do. We capture small pieces of information We automatically gather. We don't ask managers or leadership to go and create 360 surveys or to set up scheduling of a survey to go out. This all happens automatically based on meetings and interactions that you're having with people. So we want to automatically gather engagement, goal, and objective performance data through single-click surveys between coworkers, managers, leadership, and more. And then we give managers and employees the tools to understand those interactions and the knowledge to mutually use that information. Right? There's a difference now. If you go into a one-on-one or your annual review session, but you've got information, it's not just what the manager has kept on that piece of legal paper at the side of their desk for the last year to refer to as notes at the end of the year when they do your performance review. If you've had feedback going all along throughout not only the interactions that are taking place in the meetings that you have and the fact that people think that you're disengaged because you're on your computer, now people are giving feedback towards you. Feedback that's coming in small chunks about the objectives that have been assigned to you by your boss or by HR, and then having that information to no longer end up with that surprise. What's better than an annual performance review is a 6-page narrative chosen sometimes out of 10 people out of the company because of this 360 model. What if you're capturing small pieces of data consistently across the year and where you can see trend analysis and performance information? We've built a system that's fair for employees, it's fast for managers, it's frequent for HR, it's focused on the future for leadership and organizational development and career planning and growth, and for everyone it's easy. At the end of the day, we end up with a dashboard for your different personas between employees and managers and HR and executive teams, and a whole bunch of tools that talk about the relationships between people, helping managers be better at their job. We want to treat our employees like our most important asset, and by doing so, it means that we're making sure that their leaders are consistent and that they bring value to their job each day, and that the employees feel comfortable and validated and listened to, and they're given an opportunity to make changes instead of the end of the year, hey, I didn't like you for this, here's why I'm giving you 2%. If I'd have known in October that I was trending poorly, I might have done some things differently. I might have asked my boss to help me do things differently. Maybe my boss didn't know how to help me, but if I can give the boss now some tools to help an employee change the trajectory of their career in real time as opposed to waiting to the end of the year. So that's really what we're about. There's a whole bunch more on our platform. Linda's very familiar with it. She's very good. And actually, Linda's daughter interned with us for the summer. And so a lot of the marketing materials and things that we're doing in new ads are directly from Linda's daughter. So I appreciate your support here today because it's a pretty intimidating crowd. Thank you.
We have time for questions. Wayne, I'm kind of thinking you run into this a bit with your training as far as getting employees to engage and comment about each other. Any thoughts?
Yeah. So JD, how are you doing it throughout the year? What are you doing to push your your clients the ability to do that and to keep it top of mind using your tools?
So it automatic. So we look at your calendar, and based on the people that you're interacting with, those are the people that we survey on a real-time basis at the conclusion of those interactions or through additional pieces of feedback that you can gather. But a lot of tools out there, the problem is they've done a better way of making a 360, and it says, hey, if you want more frequent 360s, your manager can now select who to go send this survey to, and they can select the frequency of delivering that survey. This is all automated. No manager, no employee wants to go in and say, I'm supposed to remember to go do a survey or do these things, right? The other piece is, my Delta flight. I'm always excited when I get my Delta survey and it says, how was your flight? And I say, it was awesome. And then they say, let me ask you 10 more questions. And I say, I'm out. I don't want any more of that. Right. So how do I get a small piece of information? It takes as much effort to delete it as it does to answer it. Looks like we're losing some connection again.
So I just gave everybody. That's fine. We're good.
Gotcha. Okay.
We can see it.
All right. So in answer to your question, the primary means that we get information on who to send surveys to is based upon who you're interacting with, which is based upon connecting to the calendar within the organization and the people that you work with. Then say, for example, you've had 10 meetings with somebody, and the system will now say, hey, you've had 10 meetings with JD where he was generally participative. One of those objectives his boss gave him was better communication. How's he doing on that? And so I'm capturing small pieces of data about your interactions or your participation, small pieces of data on an ongoing basis about individual objectives that you have, coalescing that information from the people that you're working with, and now giving that to you in real time so you can see. And now I can have a discussion with you in a one-on-one that actually means something, because I got data. It's not just my personal bias. It's not just what I've heard around the water cooler. It's the information that's coming from the rest of your peers.
Right. And are you doing it by phone, or is it all automated that you're pushing out to folks?
All automated. It's a little survey that comes up on your phone, comes up on your watch. In the future here, it comes up on your desktop on your screen. And then we have other tools that give managers visibility to their team members. We have some really cool things that not conceptually, it's there, but gives you the ability to look at groups of people working together, teams, departments, divisions, organizations. So as a CEO, I can look at my whole organization. I can say, my organization was at a 6.2 last month, and we're now at a 6.0. We've gone down 2 percentage points. Where in my tree, where in my organization am I starting to have a decline? I can pinpoint that. I can work with my staff. I can work with my VP or my directors and say, hey, it looks like the sales team got a couple people that are having some challenges. What are we going to do about that?
JD, can you share your screen again and show the app, the phone app screen?
Let me see. I can grab something real quick. Yeah.
While you're doing
Yeah,
that.
I can go to my
That'll
slides
give
real
you an
quick.
idea of what it looks like.
Yeah, let me go.
And while JD's pulling up that, is anybody else running into the experience where 360s have some value, but they're done and tend to remember only the stuff from the last 30 days or the last 2 weeks?
Oh, that happens all the time.
And it depends on your manager, right? You get the manager that is, a wordsmith, and you might get a lot of information, but you get somebody who's real quick, and you're somebody who, right, likes those words of affirmation or wants the encouragement or coaching to go into another level, and you get somebody that quickly, yeah, good,
Yeah.
And to me, that's so frustrating.
There's different roles. The HR manager has one job, and I figure it's the employee's job responsibility. So when I go to my review, I don't try to take over the meeting, but I go in well armed with everything I've accomplished for the last year, which I've taken notes on a regular basis. So I show them, I'm like, this is what I've accomplished. And, when they have a question, I can refer to my notes.
Yeah, but then that gets back to the same, there's just as much bias in your manager maybe not liking you as the bias in you saying how awesome you are. So if you've got feedback from everybody else that you work with that collaborates how awesome you are, what a great way to either defend yourself or promote further how well you're doing. And if your manager decided, well, you're only going to get 1% increase this year, so you can say, well, gosh, here's what it looks like. Tool also helps to expose.
The employees should take responsibility for their own. That was my point.
They should. You're absolutely right. But sometimes there's my perception of what I've done well, what I think I've done, or what I've from tactically what I've completed. But I have no idea that all of my peers are walking down the hall saying, "Get me out of this team with JD. He's awful."
JD, I have a question.
Employees could see their score, like in real time? Did you say that the employees could kind of see their score in real time, like keep up with it?
Yeah. Yeah, there's score from each individual interaction. There's interaction score, which is your cumulative score across time. Then we also have scores that are for each of your objectives, and you take those interaction and objective scores together. That comes your personal score. Put a bunch of personal score together. That's a team score. A bunch of team scores together. That's a department score. A bunch of departments together. That's an organization.
Okay, guys, I have to bow out. I have a 12:30. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindy.
Right.
Thank you, Lindy.
Yeah, Anthony, did you have a question?
Yeah, thanks. Hi, JD. I have a question. I'm curious because I can imagine that so often employers, different businesses, they don't necessarily don't actually have a budget, or they're not forward thinking about, okay, this is something we want because it's going to improve productivity and culture and all these things. So sometimes it's, whether it's the finance department or someone else, they really just want to know, okay, well, what's the ROI on this thing? You know, if I'm going to spend money, what's going to be the end result? And how do you address that kind of question? Because I can imagine it's probably a common objection. I mean, myself, with my peers, we can already understand this quickly, but we're a smaller organization, we're nimble, so we could see that, okay, when we get to the stage where we're big enough, yeah, we would like to invest in something like this, but how do you handle that question for bigger organizations?
Well, so a couple things. First of all, I would look at it and say, okay, how many managers do you have? How many direct reports do they have? And on average, how many hours per week or month do you think that those managers spend on HR-related issues? Stuff that you can actually tie down tactically, or how much of it is water cooler and drama and all those other things. Okay. Then I'd go and say, well, gosh, nobody wants to try a system out because you got to have complete corporate buy-in, and then you got to have this long implementation, and we got to get tied into a contract and all that kind of stuff. Wouldn't it be better if I could just try this with a team of 20 or 30 people in a department? That sure would be nice. Oh, well, now that whole issue of that long-term implementation, I can set your organization up with one email address today. That's all I need to get you set up and working in the next 5 minutes. Oh, and by the way, this is a monthly subscription fee based on the people that are using the system. So similar to Slack, it's a minimal monthly subscription fee. And at some point you decide you don't want this any longer, you just cancel.
And it doesn't have to be the entire corporation, right? I can choose as a manager, I want to try this out in my team.
Exactly.
JD, can you
the rest of the man say, that was really cool, that was easy, we'd like to use it as well. So if anybody of you has used Slack, it's very much in the same idea of Slack, where you invite people to the organization. It's a private instance of this system, and the only PII that we use in this tool is your email address and your name. We are not an HRIS system. We're simply trying to offset the horrible tools that are generally available through Workday or Ultimate or ADP. They do all kinds of bennies and onboarding things fantastically, but everybody tends to leave this performance review process short. And then a CIO, or excuse me, a finance person says, well, we already have a system, let's just use what we have here. And we say, well, gosh, this is so cheap, why wouldn't you try it?
JD, before we wrap up, can you show us what the phone looks like when you're finishing your meeting, and how you rate somebody?
So can you see my screen right now or no?
No.
Oh, sorry. I thought I had it up. Yep. Why can't I share? Let me share again. There we go. So this is an interaction survey. Comes out at the end of a meeting. I'm not asking how well you did your job. Oh, screen sharing is paused. Resume share. Hold on. There we go. Can you see that now?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So at the end of a meeting, I know that this meeting was at 3 o'clock today. So at about 4:15, because it was an hour meeting, I know who the attendees were. I'm going to send them this survey. And it's not how well you did your job or anything like that. At the end of the day, I hope that you were in the yellow. I hope you were attended and present and paid attention and were considerate and kind to the rest of the people in the meeting. I would hope that you would contribute or drive and lead. And if you hover over those things, that'll tell you what those items really mean. I wouldn't want you to be distracted playing on your phone. I wouldn't want you to disrupt the meeting, show up late and tell me to catch you back up. I wouldn't want you to throw a chair across the room, but if you did, I surely would want to make sure that your manager was immediately aware of that. That's an interaction survey. And let me,
Wayne,
so there's the results of an interaction survey that a manager would get to see. An employee gets to see them without the people's names of who gave the feedback. And then one last one, I'll go here, or there's how your interactions break out between departments and among team members. Here's your objectives. Sorry, let me go past a couple. And here's objective surveys. So similar single click feedback. If you want to give some additional information, we want that there. We are indicating what we'd expect to see as an observable about the employee that you're referring to. We also have what we call manager hints. So now when I get this information and I'm having a one-on-one with my employee, not only do I see the observables and the feedback they've got, but I've got my manager hints on how to be a better manager or help Sheila in her career. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff.
So do you have like a point person within a business that's going to drive this, or to Linda's point, like a department or a team could use it?
So we believe that the sales guys and the marketing folks, they all get the cool tools. HR gets shafted and they end up with the spreadsheet, and the only value in that spreadsheet is whether or not there's data in it. The hardest part of doing any kind of system is collecting data. Nobody wants to fill it out. Nobody wants to coalesce it. Nobody wants to mine it. Nobody wants to do anything. So how do you automate the collection of that data and give HR the tools that they can now be a trusted advisor to the business and bring some more ROI to that business? So typically, yes, the admin for the tool is going to be somebody in HR. They have the ability to work with the objectives that we've got in there or add additional objectives for the organization. They've got tools to be able to see information like when Joe walks up and says, Linda's got to go, she's terrible. And now HR says, well, is Joe just doesn't like Linda, or is Linda a bad employee? Well, feedback seems to indicate that everybody else that Linda works with thinks she's awesome. Maybe Joe's got to go.
Totally, Joe.
So, yeah, typically the
HR,
you know, it could be in any organization depending on who's there. But yes, we're all about trying to make HR's life more important and valuable.
Good. Hey guys, I'm gonna watch your time. JD, I think it's a fascinating discussion, and I think it's a great way to get started. And realize there's a lot going on.
Yeah, for those of you that are consultants as well, we have some tools to enable for executive coaching engagements and project consulting things in that platform. And so there's some other things as a means to actually not only if you're consulting and selling a platform, but actually using a platform to engage and grow your business. So that's my sales pitch. Thanks.
Yeah. And in wrapping up, contact, or we're glad to connect you. Next week, Iris Grimm is coming back. Continuing her conversation. And then beyond that, I got a little bit of feedback. Sorry, guys. And then beyond that, we got a couple other good conversations. Again, this is trying to be a quick break, get the conversation started. You know who to talk to, or find some people that are interesting. And as we always say, as we always try to do, with a little bit of humor at the end as well. That's probably the wrong way to do it. If I was JD, I'm thinking this is entirely wrong. All the more reason to hang out with JD. So thanks, everybody. Any other comments? Take care.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, JD.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, JD.
Thanks so much. Great meeting y'all. Thank you.
Have a good week.